Hi, I'm Cormac. You're listening to Queerly Beloved, supported by Amazon Music. In this series, I invite DJs and musicians, friends, and allies from the LGBTQ+ community to talk about music, queerness, and anything else that shaped their unique story. Today's episode was recorded in front of a live audience at ADE, the Amsterdam dance event, in 2024 with DJ and producer Hannah Laing. I'd call Hannah a rising star in electronic music, but she's already risen, playing for massive crowds at places like DC10, Warehouse Project, and Creamfields. As a producer, she's been putting out music for a decade and launched her label and party series Doof in 2024. All hail the Doof! I really loved talking to Hannah. She's so hardworking, so sweet, and despite this meteoric rise and all of the difficulties or struggles that can come with that, she remains all about the music and very true to her charismatic Scottish roots. You can find a playlist for all the music mentioned in today's episode, and indeed every episode, at the link in the episode description. So here it is. Please enjoy my conversation with Hannah Laing, live at ADE in 2024. Hello everyone, lovely to see you here. Welcome to Queerly Beloved, supported by Amazon Music. I'm so thrilled to welcome Hannah Laing as my guest today. It's been lovely to kind of investigate and learn about Hannah and see how amazing you're doing and how humble you are. It's such a joy. So, as I do with all of my guests, I would like you to introduce yourself. Tell us how you identify and what it is that you do.
I'm Hannah Laing. I'm a lesbian and I'm a DJ and producer from Scotland.
Super. Whereabouts in Scotland?
Dundee.
I have such a place in my heart for the Scots. Your journey with music, I guess for all of us, it starts at home. Was music a big part of your growing up when you were a kid?
Definitely. My mum and dad had me when they were only 17 years old. So they were babies themselves. And that was in 1994. So the prime rave era. So growing up, they were always out. Nowhere to be seen. No, I'm joking, but they were always out. And in the house, in the car, it was always the House Classics series, Trance Classics, Hard House. And that's what I grew up listening to, and I do thank them for it now.
That's incredible. I mean, you were probably listening to that in the womb.
Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing. God, my parents were so old when they had me. How is it growing up with younger parents? Do you have a lot, I guess the stereotype is that they become your friends?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They were obviously raving back then when I was growing up, and even now they're still classed as young parents, so they're always at my shows going crazy.
Oh, they come to your shows?
Yeah, on one interview I done before, my mum says, "You've only let me backstage once," and I said, "Because you and your mates are mental." And it's true.
That's so good to hear. I mean, I hid everything from my parents, so they knew nothing that I was going on when it came to raves and parties and things. So it's good to know that even if they know everything, you still keep them out. In terms of music, when you were growing up, if you were to choose a record from growing up in Scotland with raver parents, having fun, is there something that reminds you of your childhood, for example?
It's got to be, I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're going to go with Nalin and Kane Beach Ball. This is like my mum's favourite tune, even still to this day. I'm sure she had it on a Head Candy CD, and every time I hear it, it just reminds me of my mum. And I recently done a show in Glasgow at the Arches, iconic club, and I played it last, and my mum was in the crowd, obviously, because she's not allowed backstage. So I can see her in the crowd going absolutely mental, but it's got to be that tune. It's an absolute classic, such a vibe.
You know, it's interesting. I keep thinking about you and your parents having the same love of the same music, because there's such a bonding over music, and you know, it's a way that you express, it's a way that you connect and express intimacy with your friends. It must be amazing to have that with your folks.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even I'm going back to other interviews I've done. It's so funny. People, like, I'm so lucky to have that support from them. Like somebody asked my mom, like my mom got interviewed and they said, do you ever tell Hannah to turn the music down? And she says, no, I tell her to turn it up. And like having that support is so good. Like anything I do, they're fully behind me and you can't ask for anything better.
It's amazing. I'm imagining your mum at your gigs. Something I love about watching your gigs is, you know, as our industry progresses, there's a lot of showmanship and a lot of performance. And there's such humility when you play. Like I've seen you like nearly being sick before you play, you get nervous. And I can really tell that when you play, the music is the star of your show and your love of the music is the thing that brought you there.
Yeah, I mean, before every show, I get so nervous, like you wouldn't believe. And I've been doing this for 12 years now, so you would think that it would get easier. I get so nervous, but as soon as I step on the decks, I feel the energy and the music. I just switch and I'm in the zone and I'm not nervous anymore. So yeah, it's amazing.
That's amazing. Nealon and Kane, I love. I mean, I know that record because that kind of crossed over from German electronic into pop, really. It became such a big, in the 90s when basically rave kind of hit top of the pops and you could see that. But Nealon and Kane, they also did this really amazing remix of Kylie Minogue, Breathe.
I actually didn't know that, but I need to hear it now.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it's kind of dreamy and a bit Balearic, but quite deep as well.
It's definitely them, yeah.
It's so good. I'm going to send it to you afterwards.
Please do.
I will. When you were growing up, I mean, you had your parents and a lot of support there, but was there any kind of musical artists or people that you might have looked up to or noticed?
For me, it was definitely Roger Sanchez, and like I loved his music for a start, but when I started getting into wanting to DJ myself, the way he mixes like blows me away. Like, I've never seen a DJ like him. Nowadays, I would compare James Hype to him because the 4-deck mixing and the technicality that goes into it. When I was learning, I would literally study his mixes. I'd watch one of his sets, download every tune that he'd mix and try and mix it exactly the same way as him. No one mixes like him and definitely been a huge inspiration. And I only knew of him through my mum and dad.
Wow.
And yeah, I was absolutely obsessed with Avril Lavigne. Honestly, I used to be a little skater chick. I used to rollerblade, skateboard, and she was obviously a skater boy or skater girl. Her big tune. And when I heard Skater Boy for the first time, I was always at the skate park. And then I used to try and dress like her, put eyeliner on like her. I didn't even wear makeup, but because she wore it, I wanted to wear it. And I used to watch her documentary over and over. I was literally obsessed with her. I thought she was the coolest thing ever.
And your parents were panicking, going, "Oh no, we have an indie kid."
Yeah, that was before I discovered the doof.
And when did you think, "Oh, I want to be a DJ"?
I started going clubbing when I was about 15. There was like a lot of trance events on where I'm from in Dundee. And as soon as I started going clubbing, I started meeting a lot of people in that scene. And these were younger DJs as well that were going out, local DJs. And then I would end up at after parties with them. And at the after parties, they had decks. Well, it was a little controller on a laptop. And every after party we went to, I was wanting to go on the decks. And because I loved clubbing and the music so much, it just made me really want to get into it. And yeah, I knew I wanted to get a little set of decks.
I'm just thinking, like, I can't get over your parents, but it's like, two ravers having you at 17, it must have been their dream to have like a superstar DJ as a kid.
You know what? It's so crazy now. When I go and DJ on these lineups, I go and play with people that my mum and dad used to go and see. Or, for example, like
nuts.
Pete Tong or Judge Jules, I've been on lineups with them, and these are people that mum and dad used to go see and follow around the UK or whatever. So to them, it's absolutely mental, yeah.
Was your mum and dad happy that you were swearing with Pete Tong on Radio 1?
Honestly, I've still got the fear from that, so...
you can swear on this.
Good, thank God.
I mean, I think, the thing with kind of 90s dance music is that it wasn't particularly focused on gender or sexuality. It was really about the music. So often when I ask guests about that time in their life, I'm kind of asking them, was there someone that you noticed? But I mean, I guess in your story that wasn't so relevant. Maybe it was more...
No, definitely not. Growing up, it wasn't relevant for me. And I think most of the people that I was familiar with was just anybody that mom and dad was listening to. And that's truly how I got into it.
And were your parents always cool with the gay stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Like whatever I'm happy doing, they're happy. So I'm so lucky.
God, that's so lovely to hear.
Yeah, they're sound, they proper sound.
No, but it's so lovely to hear because often what we cover on the podcast, there are a lot of stories about the struggle of it. And you're a great example that that's just not a given.
Yeah.
And that's so lovely to hear.
Yeah, I know so many people, gay people, that have had a real struggle coming out, and I'm just lucky that I've never had that struggle, and it's just been all about music for me.
That's so beautiful. And when you first started to mix, was there a record that you could choose that would kind of give us a window into the sound you were playing?
When I first started DJing,
Yes.
well, growing up, my mum and dad used to love Sophie Ellis Bextor, Murder on the Dance Floor, so I also used to love Sophie Ellis Bextor, Murder on the Dance Floor. And when I first started DJing, before I really started trying to make music, I used to just try and throw it into my sets, and it would never fit. I'd literally be stopping the music and throwing in Sophie Ellis Bextor, Murder on the Dance Floor. I absolutely love that record. And then when I did start learning how to make music, the first big edit I done was of Sophie Ellis Bextor, and that has a massive part to play in why I'm here today.
It's so mad. It's quite cosmic, the connection. And then she's had a renaissance with that tune recently.
I know, it's such a tune.
Was it like an official remix that you did?
Yeah, so she was fully on board and we got the official clearance. We've done it the right way.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
You talk about practicing and you talk about mixing and really grafting at it. I think as a DJ, you have to do that. You have to live and breathe it. You want to wake up in the morning and mix. You know, you have to go through that period of like just wanting to emulate something or to try something. I mean, I still get excited by mixing.
When you get a good mix, there's no better feeling.
There's no better
no matter
feeling.
like yeah.
Totally. And I mean, it also like mixing, you know, on CDJs now makes so much more possible in terms of like acapellas and like it just makes things a lot more accessible and easier. I get chills sometimes in the mix.
100%. The amount of features on the CDJs now is incredible. I don't even think I've explored them all yet, and that's exciting because there's always something new that you can learn.
Do you prepare much?
Okay, so this is actually mad you say that. Obviously things have blew up for me really quickly recently. I've been doing it a long time, but more recently it's exploded. And I always I'd get a folder together and like I'd prepare to a certain extent. And more recently, I've been over preparing. Like I'll go over and over and over my set. But if I go into the show over prepared, I feel so much better for it. So more recently, I'm more prepared than ever, 100%. And even if it doesn't go that way, it doesn't matter because you know you still got a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're DJing in front of 30,000 people, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that 30,000 at Creamfields?
Yeah, that was the scariest gig of my life. Until I stepped on stage, we were all good. But I mean, the build up to it, I just didn't understand how you can fit 30,000 people under one roof. When Creamfields announced that they had this brand new structure and it was going to hold 30,000 people, I couldn't comprehend it. The biggest indoor stage at Creamfields before was 15,000. And I've been in there many times raving, and it was massive. So then when I walked up and looked up at the size of the stage, honestly, wow, I was shitting myself.
That's insane. I just got back from Tomorrowland in Brazil, and I have never seen anything, as wild as that production. It was like, okay, here we go.
It looks mind-blowing. Tomorrowland, somewhere I've never been, but hopefully soon.
Yeah. I mean, I jumped ahead a wee bit into your DJing, but probably because I have this idea that you were raving with your folks. But before you got into DJing, was there a moment of going out and finding your community, like finding your people?
Yeah, well, as I touched on earlier, when I started going out clubbing to these trance events in Dundee, I met so many local DJs that were going to these events. And then, like, they're still my friends now, and they've become really close people to me. There's like a group of guys who ended up buying his little controller from him. He taught me how to DJ. So, yeah, it's amazing how many connections you make through tunes. It's class.
That's so good. Is there a track you can think of from those early days?
Yeah, it's got to be Delirium Silence. When I was going to these events in Dundee, I went to see Richard Durand, and he was playing trance classic set. and he played Silence, and I was hooked.
I mean, that's a massive crossover track as well. It's kind of one of those tracks that just crossed over into so many different genres and hit so many people. It's massive.
It's insane. I still play it in so many sets now, and I mean, we'll not call it a safety tune, but it always goes off. Yeah, like people, it's a proper emotional tune, but then it's obviously banging at the same time.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to ask you because, like, you're quite a purist with your sound. I feel like that's your sound, and that's why it works, and that's why you're successful as well because you've found your sound. I think that's a big part of being a DJ. It can take time to do that. But what do you think of the kind of more recent trend of a lot of techno DJs falling into trance? Have you noticed? Like, there's
Oh
like a really
yeah.
big trend of like navigating towards trance. There was this idea, it's really snobby, that like, you know, trance was a dirty word or something for a while, and then it's like it's become massively popular and everybody wants to play it. What do you observe about that, or what do you think about it?
To be honest, for me, it's amazing because now trance is coming back to the masses through this trend, and it's allowed me to play the music that I truly love. Like the whole time I was DJing, I'd play any genre to get the gig. So I've played R&B, house, tech house, just to get the gig opportunity. And now that this 90s trance rave sound has come back, now I can play the music that I truly want to play. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, nice. And I want to know about your early gigs. Did they go well?
I mean, I've played baby showers, 16th birthday parties, so promising that nobody would be requesting. But yeah, but I feel like now I'm in this position. I've done every gig you can ever imagine, and I've built my way up. So now I feel ready for it. So, I mean, they're not always great, and even now, like I might be playing to big, massive crowds, and people might think that's great, but you don't always love it. And yeah, it's been a lot of crazy gigs to get here.
I think your Instagram's really honest and really refreshing because you'll be like, I feel sick.
Oh yeah, for sure. The anxiety you can feel for performing is like nothing I've ever experienced. But as I always say, as soon as I step on stage and feel the crowd energy, then I'm fine. But that build up is honestly not pleasant. And every single show I feel that. And you say I'm feeling sick, but I am actually so sick all the time before I play. I went, my manager's over there nodding, saying, yeah. And it's almost like a ritual. And I don't know if it's just in my head or whatever, but every time before I perform, I'm sick and then I feel better. And I know that when I go on stage, I'm going to feel fine. And I think since the switch happened for me, I was always a supporting DJ. And then as soon as I became to headline shows and people are buying tickets to see you, I felt that pressure switch. I'm hoping it's going to die down. I'm definitely trying to put things in place to make that happen. But I know in my head that things will be fine when I start performing. So like I can deal with it.
Yeah, you mentioned anxiety, and statistically, LGBTQ plus people are more likely to experience mental health problems, whether that be anxiety or depression. I mean, those are not exclusive to LGBTQ people, especially in today's age. But I kind of wanted to ask you about, if you're happy to share it, about your experience of those things and, you know, how you manage them, especially being on the road. That's tough. I saw this thing with the Blessed Madonna, and she said, you know, if you have any kind of health challenges, whether that's physical or mental, go in a month with little sleep, different time zones on a plane, we'll bring them to the surface. Don't worry, you know, like it's kind of a given. I wanted to ask you about your experience of those things.
Yeah, I think as I was just speaking about when the switch happened for me from support DJ to headliner, the anxiety heightened. And then I was like, every show I would be partying. Like, I'm obviously feeling anxious, then I'm playing, then I'm drinking to get through the anxiety. More recently, I'm putting things in place, like the label I'm with, which is really good. Like, they offer therapists to their artists. Wow. So it was through my management. He said, like, do you want to talk to this guy? Because you're off the rails. Nah.
You were like, I'm just Scottish.
No, but you know, like things go absolutely crazy. You're in amongst it. You're partying. You're anxious, and like that kind of takes over. And then I was going from show to show to show, not sleeping, drinking all the time, getting on it. You know the drill. And then I wouldn't be looking forward to the next show. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I love playing, and if I'm not looking forward to the next show, like I need to sort this. So, as I say, I speak to the therapist now every week, and I honestly don't know what to do without him. It's just like all these things are so new and all the pressures that it brings, nobody could prepare you for it. So you definitely do feel it. So now I'm trying to find my balance between partying and work.
So brilliant you say that as well, because our job is in other people's social lives. So people are with you, but you're doing this thing that they're not doing.
Yeah.
And I think preparation and skill, hopefully we make it look easy. That's the thing. But it's not. It takes effort, it takes work. And I think getting that balance and that ability to be able to say, okay, we're here together, but I'm doing this and it's different for me. It takes time. It's a real skill.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like all my mates and stuff loved to come to my shows. So every time it was always just a big party. So I just need to tell myself that I'm not missing out on anything when they're still sitting in the kitchen, 10 a.m. the next day, I'll be up fresh, having a smoothie.
Yeah, I was talking to Romy about that on series one about from the XX, and she was kind of saying, at some points, like, all her mates will be in the backstage and she has to go somewhere else to chill out before her gig. It's like it's such a social event.
That's exactly it. Honestly, green rooms are the most overwhelming places in the world. You're about to play to all these people and everyone's like chatting and shouting and drinking, and I'm like, nah, I need space.
You're so championed as well. I saw that clip of you playing. Was it in the Highlander?
Yeah.
I mean, people nearly jumped in the booth.
Yeah.
It was insane.
That was fun, yeah. Well, I'm glad I went back and done that, but it's very intense.
You had a residency there?
Yeah, the Highlander Scottish Bar in Ibiza was my first Ibiza residency. Honestly, some of the best times of my life DJing to Scottish people in Ibiza every week when I was only 18 years old. Like, I was living the dream. Yeah, so I was so glad to go back and do a set there. It was amazing.
And also, like, you mentioned baby showers and grafting your way up. I think there's a real value to that, like to things not happening overnight, because it's all of those things, playing to an empty room, playing for $100, like whatever it is, you learn things. And even if it's just learning, like, do I really want to do this? Because I'm not doing it for the money. Do you know what I mean? Like, and those things kind of propel you. And I think maybe when you get to your level of playing to such big crowds that, I mean, nothing's really going to go wrong that you can't handle.
Hope not.
Do you have any music that you might lean on in times where you need support or you feel in need of care?
Honestly, like, I still listen to dance music, even like people have like their sad song playlist, and I really am into indie music as well. I think like my guilty pleasure when I'm feeling down, I'll really love the script. But again, like my manager always says, he says, do you just have doof for breakfast? Because I do. I just listen to dance music all the time, and I don't think there is a certain song that I can lean on, but my guilty pleasure is a script when I'm not listening to dance music, which is not very often.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite track from them?
Man Who Can't Be Moved.
Nice.
Yeah.
My connection to a lot of kind of harder house stuff was when I moved to London, I was going every weekend. I would have gone more if it had been on more, but I could only go once a week to Trade, where Tony DeVitt was playing. And that was just such a massive, I've talked about him before in series one, but that to feel the impact of what he created and the legacy that came after him, like Fergie and stuff, was just massive.
He is such a legend, Tony DeVee. Like, he's basically the one that brought hard house to the masses. And not that long ago, I got asked to remix one of his tunes, and I wasn't sure on doing it because he's such a legend. And I thought, am I going to be able to do justice to this tune? Obviously, he sadly passed away a long time ago now, but one of his family members actually reached out to me, like, give me the blessing to do it. So it gave me the confidence to do it. And he's just had such an impact on the scene that I love. So to get to remix one of his records was just insane.
I mean, I can only imagine he would be so chuffed at having like such a successful newer generation gay person work on his music. It must be so, I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, he's such a legend. I don't think Hard House would be what it is today if he wasn't part of it.
I watched the documentary about him, which is also a bit about Fergie, kind of his protege, and I've got to know Fergie a wee bit through social media. And one of the things that they cover in the documentary is kind of, he also had that graft, of like playing in pubs and playing and stuff before it blew up for him. So he really had this ability to kind of properly mix things. Like there was a high energy sense of what he was doing as well, and it just made it sound very unique.
Yeah, definitely. Like I still watch all his trade sets on YouTube from back in the day, wishing I could experience it. And I've just remembered it was "Bring the Beat Back" remix.
I know that. I know
Sorry,
that
my
track.
mind went blank.
I know that track. Yeah. And did you ever go listen to Fergie much? Did you?
No, I've never actually seen Fergie. He always used to play for the big Scottish brand Colours in Glasgow, but I never got to see him. But Fergie is, I still play Fergie's tracks in my sets today. He is literally insane, and he's such a cool guy. I only spoke to him recently for the first time ever, and yeah, he is a proper legend as well.
He does that great thing on his Insta where he just plays records and
Yeah.
introduces you to the track.
I love watching his live still, like proper mix of the turntables, amazing.
This is so enjoyable, Hannah. I want to finish up with our 6th record and ask you a track that you're currently loving or a producer that you're currently loving.
There's a producer actually from near where you're from, Northern Ireland, Matty Ralph, his name is, and he's honestly not even been producing long. I think a couple of years, and his productions blow me away. There's a tune called Teodoro, and it was signed to Armada. It is like got trance, mega 90s trance influences, but also like techno bass lines. I've been playing it every set. It absolutely goes off. He's so young, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds for him.
It's mad, isn't it, when you get like these young producers who have this really old ear?
He is honestly amazing. He's so good. You need to check it out.
I'm just thinking, like when I started to go out, when I was way underage, I used to go to this illegal rave in Northern Ireland called Circus, and I think it was run by, let's say, paramilitaries. At the time in Northern Ireland, it was quite an intense scenario, but they used to bring over a lot of Scottish artists, and there's always been this connection between faster music and Scotland and Northern Ireland.
100%. Like Ireland and Northern Ireland, Scotland are my favourite places to play. There's a massive trance scene where you're from as well, and we have that. But like when you go to England or down south, it's just not that. So we've definitely got that connection.
Definitely. I love the Scots. This has been so lovely, Hannah. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for having me on.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Give me a hug.
Thank you.
you so much, sweetheart.
You've been listening to Queerly Beloved with me, Cormac. Since you've listened right to the end, I wanted to give you a heads up that for each series of Queerly Beloved, I want to start highlighting the work of a queer charity or organisation worth supporting. For season 2, I've chosen notaphase.org, a charity committed to supporting and uplifting the lives of trans adults through community and joy. You can find a link to Not a Phase at the link in the episode description, as well as playlists for all the music mentioned in today's episode and every episode. While you're there, please do hit subscribe so you don't miss out on my conversations with more talented people. A big thanks to Michael Laing, my producer, to my manager, Melissa Taylor at Tailored Communication, and of course to Amazon Music for their support, and to you, the listener. Until next time, take care of yourself. All the best. Bye.